Hey, you guys. Okay, so I needed to reshare this dream. Uh, I believe I recorded this. At least it's a year old. This video is a year old, possibly even 2 years old. I actually originally shared this video on September the 3rd, I believe, of 2022. That's when God had first initially led me to share it. And the thing was, he had been bringing it up. He had been bringing it up for me to, sometimes he'll bring dreams to mind for me to go back and listen to. I'll listen to them in my dream log. And then if it's a dream that I actually posted, I'll listen to that posting as well. And he kept bringing up this dream, but what he was calling it, he was saying wedding feast, wedding feast. That's what I kept hearing him say, wedding feast. And so I was trying to find this dream on my dream log and I couldn't find it because I didn't have a dream titled The Wedding Feast. And then I came across it and it was titled Rejecting Toxic Unions. And I was like, oh, okay. And y'all, when I listened to this dream, my mind was completely blown away because he had me release it then in September of 2022. But I'm just now experiencing this. I just now experienced this dream about 2 weeks ago, right? And a lot of you have been experiencing it as well. I have other words I need to release, but I felt like I could not release these other dreams that God is telling me, it's time to release without sharing this word with y'all because it's extremely important for whoever this is for. But I needed to do this re-recording over it because I misunderstood some of the dream. When I initially recorded this, I misunderstood the beginning part. So I just wanted to come in here and edit it and make that correction. All right. So it doesn't cause any confusion to anybody. Okay. So in the beginning of this dream, I'm talking about that we're preparing to go to a wedding. There are 3 different scenes and I'm preparing to go to a wedding with these 3 different people. And you're going to hear me say a couple of times that I'm not going to the wedding. And God had to correct me and tell me, yes, you are going to the wedding. But go ahead. I'm going to let y'all listen to the dream and then I'll come back and explain after the first section. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tiffany, and God normally shows me things in prophetic dreams. And so today I want to share a dream with y'all and also say welcome to my new subscribers. I'm glad to have y'all. I'm still growing with God and learning. So this dream, the message that he shared with me, I'm trying to think about the best way to relay it because the message that he gave me overall is a combination of this dream that I had yesterday along with some just a place he has me in right now and a dream I had back in April as well. So let me give y'all the title. I'm looking at my little cheat sheet. Okay, so the title, the message from it is Rejecting Toxic Unions and Taking Back Control. And God is saying that it's time to heal. It's time to heal. If God has been dealing with you with healing right now, this may be for you. So anyways, but just pray and make sure it's for you, okay? All right, y'all, so I'm gonna get started. So in this dream, I was supposed to be attending a wedding. I was supposed to be attending this wedding with a guy I used to talk to. I had a romantic relationship with him in the past, and the relationship was very toxic, and I don't talk to him anymore. But for some reason in this dream, I was attending somebody's wedding with him, right? And so I didn't even know the person that was getting married. He knew the person that was getting married. It was somebody he worked with, and I had no idea why I was going, let alone why I was going with him. But I just went along with it, right? That was one scene of the dream. And the next scene of the dream, I'm supposed to be attending this same wedding with somebody else. Now, this other person that I was supposed to be attending this same wedding with this time was somebody who has had a lot of influence in my life, someone whose opinion I care greatly for, but the relationship hadn't always been the best for me. Okay, I'm gonna come back to that, but this is a whole nother person, okay? And I was supposed to be attending the wedding with this second person, right? And so I'm getting ready. I'm preparing my clothes for the wedding, but I really don't want to go. I really don't want to go. In my mind, between the first person and the first scene and the second person, I'm like, oh, I don't want to go, but I'm going. And with the second person, the main reason I'm going is because this was somebody that I didn't like to let down. I really cared about what they thought of me, and I really cared about I really cared with them being happy with me. I didn't want them to be disappointed in me, right? And and so that's why I was going. But I was thinking to myself, oh, this is not how I want to spend my Saturday. That's what I was thinking, right? And so then the scene jumps, and I'm still going to the same wedding, but with a different person, this third person. Now, this third person has had a lot of influence in my life, all of my life, and the relationship has kind of been toxic. And so I was going because it was expected of me again. But in this part of the scene, I'm arguing with this person because that's what we always end up doing. This person doesn't really listen to me, or they don't. It's just a very difficult relationship, you know. And it's like I was going to the wedding with them out of expectation because I was expected to, right? And so somewhere in between me arguing with this person, I just thought, why am I doing this? Like, I don't even want to spend my Saturday this way. And I'm like, why am I doing this? And well, the wedding was on the Saturday, right? It was on the Saturday. And I was like, this is not how I want to spend my Saturday. I don't even know the people that's getting married. I don't even want to go to the place they get married in. I was just going over and over in my head about it. And then with this third person, I'm like, all we do is like argue. And so I'm like, why am I even going with you? And so it was out of expectation. So anyways, after I thought about it in a dream, I said, I'm not going. I said it just like that. I said, you know what? I'm not going to the wedding. Mind you, I didn't even know who the people who were getting married. And so I told the third person I'm not going. And so they were mad. And after I told them I wasn't going, I calmed down, because you ever been around a person that kind of brings out the worst in you? And oh God, they trigger you all the time. They probably see the worst in you, and it's like when you're around them, they bring out the worst in you. And so in a dream, I had to catch myself and remember how much I've grown and changed. And so I caught myself and I said, they're trying to argue with me. And I said, I refuse to argue with them. And I basically told them my feelings, and I needed them to respect it. And that was it. And I wasn't going to the wedding anymore because I didn't want to. That's not how I wanted to spend my Saturday. And that was the dream, y'all. That was the dream. And so I didn't understand this dream at first until Daddy broke it down for me. I call God Daddy, y'all. That's my daddy. And so God broke it down for me. I'm trying to find the best way to break it down, because he broke it down with a combination of things. It was really, really deep. And so I guess this is the first part. Let me see the best way. Okay, you guys. So like I mentioned before, me listening to this dream now in 2024, I laughed out loud. When I first had this dream, and when God had me release it, I didn't know about the wedding feast. Like I've heard the story in the Bible multiple times in church, like everybody else, but I hadn't understood it in the way that God has shown it to me, recently. I didn't know about it in that way at the time I shared this dream. So that part went right over my head. And so listening to it now, I'm just like, oh my God. And so anyways, God was just like, you are going to the wedding. While I was listening to this dream, as he told me to listen to it, he said, yeah, you going to the wedding. You going to the wedding. And so what he showed me was I wasn't going with those three people, okay? He said, you're going, but you're not going with them, okay? And something else he pointed out to me, I kept saying, not just in this post that I'm sharing with you guys, but also in my dream log, I kept saying I didn't even know the person who was getting married. This was the thing. I was the person who was getting married, okay? I was the bride. I kept saying those people knew the person getting married, but I didn't. They knew that person better than I. Well, they had an idea, okay? And what God basically showed me was these three people who have caused me like a great deal of pain or caused me to doubt myself in different ways or whatever. These people always saw they they had glimpses of who I really was. They had glimpses. They knew it was something about me. They knew it was something about me. Here and there they had glimpses. And in the times that, you know, they would see it shine out a little bit, they would pull themselves nearer just to make sure that they were on board, just in case I actually did take off. But then, you know, they would go back to their old ways along the way. But God said they saw it in you before you even did. Okay? They recognized what I put in you before you even did. They saw glimpses of it. So it was like they knew the bride, right? But you didn't, because you had to come into knowing who you are in him. And all of this process, everything you've been going through is about you healing, growing, further developing in God, but also finding your identity in him. All of this has been about you finding your identity in him. So that's what God was saying there. You are going to the wedding. You are the bride. Jesus is Lord. You're the bride. You are the bride. Oh my God. So I just wanted to correct that part, y'all. God had to check me. He said, you are going, you're the bride. And with them coming, they were going to be in the audience. And the scripture he was bringing to mind was, he prepares a place for me in the presence of my enemies, right? That scripture about him preparing, a table for me in the presence of my enemies. So y'all are the brides. Prepare for the bridegroom that's coming. Y'all are the brides. And they're going to witness. They're going to have front row seats, right? They all knew they all were coming to the wedding. They were going to be witnesses, okay? And he also, this is something, y'all have been hearing different disciples' names over and over again. I've been hearing different angels' names over and over again. God is on a move, and he's about to do something amazing like we never seen or experienced before. He compared us, I heard the scripture about us being the brides of Christ as well, but he also compared us to John the Baptist, right? Who prepared the way for Jesus, right? We are going to be the ambassadors of God. We are going to be preparing the way for the bridegroom that's coming, okay? We're going to be preparing the way. I don't want to go too deep on that. I just had to mention it because that's something that I start hearing him say as he had me re-listen to this dream. So we are the brides, and we are preparing the way for the bridegroom that is coming. But he said, yeah, you go into the wedding feast, and they will witness it. They will witness it, okay? You are going to the wedding, okay? All right, y'all. I'm going to let y'all finish listening. Okay, y'all, let me add this too. This is something God brought up. God literally combined three different dreams I have for this one message. When I tell y'all, God be blowing my mind. So he literally combined three different dreams for this one message. And so this particular dream, the wedding that I was supposed to be attending with these three people, and they wanted me to attend with them, right? This wedding was at a church building, right? It was in a church building. And I said, that's not how I wanted to spend my Saturday. I literally said in a dream, I mentioned that it was a Saturday, and that's not how I wanted to spend my Saturday. One of the other dreams that God tied in with this message included me packing, and I was going off into the new life he had promised me, okay? So in that dream, it was a Saturday as well, and he told me to gather the remaining of my things. I had a few things left. That dream also consisted of me getting rid of things that I was no longer using, throwing away things, giving away things, but getting the remainder of my things and then going away to a new place, right? I didn't even know it. I just saw myself getting the remaining of the things, and it was a Saturday. And I remembered in the dream that those same people, they were at church, and it was a Saturday. And while they were at church, I was getting the remaining of my things to start this new life, right? This new life that God has been talking about, right? So I said all that to say, y'all, and I hope, God, I hope y'all still with me. Jesus is Lord. The wedding is not going to look the way that everyone expects it to, right? Hear me when I say God is still preparing the table. They're still going to witness. They're still going to see. But we're still the brides. We're still the brides. But they were at church, and I was preparing for this new life. That's what my wedding looked like. Okay. And I hope that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. God just led me to add that part, that the wedding and the wedding feast, it may not appear the way people expect it to initially. Okay. It seemed like I was running off, like me, God, we were running off together basically to start a new life, right? Off to the honeymoon. Honestly, that's what it felt like. Off to the honeymoon to start a new life. It was a surprise. It was filled with surprises ahead. Like we were running away together. That's literally what it felt like, okay? So the wedding feast is not gonna look the same. It's not gonna be like what people expect it to be. It's not gonna appear the way people expect it to appear, okay, y'all? I just had to add that because God brought that up, okay? All right. But the first part of rejecting the toxic unions, it came from this dream, okay? And so what God showed me was all three people were people who had affected the way I thought about myself. It was relationships that I went about because of expectation, because I didn't want to let them down, and because I just felt like I was, even the romantic relationship with a guy, I don't even talk to him no more. It's been a minute since I've talked to him. But when I did talk to him, it was serious and heavy for me. You know, it was a hard tie to break for me. And so God was basically showing me that I was rejecting the unions with these people. Now, mind you, I was going to somebody else's wedding. It wasn't like I was going to marry these people, but he said that you were attending a marriage ceremony with these people. You know, a marriage ceremony is a celebration of a union, and you were going with these people. With each scene, I was going with them one-on-one, just us two, you know, with each scene. And God showed me that I was rejecting those unions. And when I was wondering if that was a good thing, I knew it had to be a good thing, because the people were toxic. The people all at some point or another in my life made me feel bad about myself, made me doubt myself, made me doubt my self-worth. You know what I mean? In their own little ways, they managed to tear me down, managed to make me think things about myself that weren't true, right? And so he showed me I was rejecting their toxic unions, that I would no longer be in union with them, that I was rejecting those unions, right? Okay, y'all. So let me see the best way to explain this next part. Okay. So this next part, I'm trying to explain it the way, because God just tied it in with a bunch of stuff that he's already kind of shown me. And so he referred me back to a dream I had back in April when he connected this dream to it. And I can't share the entire dream because it's personal, but it's part of it that he told me to share. And so the dream I had in April is how I got the message for taking back control. And I'm going to try to break it down how it ties into the rejecting the toxic relationships. And so he showed me that the dream I had in April. So I don't know if y'all ever seen the show Once Upon a Time. And so all this year he's had me watching fairy tales. And I started with watching the show Once Upon a Time all the way over again from the beginning. And he gave me a dream where it was similar to a personal situation. You know, he was having me get rid of stuff, clean up stuff, you know, preparation and things like that. But in another dream I had on the side, a sideline dream, was that if you watch Once Upon a Time, you know, okay? So there's a character called Rumpelstiltskin in Once Upon a Time. And he has this dagger that controls him, right? If anybody has the dagger in their possession and they hold it, they hold control over him. He has to do whatever they say do, right? If they hold the dagger, right? When the dagger is hidden, he's in control. But anytime somebody has the dagger and commands him to do something, they're in control of him or whatever. So anyways, he gave me this little snippet of a dream back in April where I saw Rumpelstiltskin and them, and they were selling off items, getting rid of stuff, cleaning, like preparation season, because that's the season I was in at the time. And he had got rid of a old chest or something, right? But he left his dagger in there. And so in a dream, he was kind of like, oh God, he didn't mean to leave his dagger in there, and he has to hurry up and try to, go find the item and retrieve his dagger, right? And so what God showed me there was like some people, like he told you to discard certain things. He told you to get rid of them, right? Give them away. They no longer had a place in your life, not in this new life, right? But it's some things you need to take and keep. You need to take back. That's what he was showing me. So just like Rumpelstiltskin, and I'm sorry y'all if y'all don't watch Once Upon a Time, okay? But like I told you, basically his character is a very powerful character who's controlled by a dagger, right? So if anybody has it, they're in control of him. He left his dagger. So God was showing me, yes, you're supposed to discard that stuff. You're supposed to get rid of it. You're not supposed to take it with you. But there are certain things you need to take back because they have control over you. Okay? He may tell you to stop talking to some people, right? To leave this alone or leave that there, leave that wherever, right? But it's certain things you do need to take back. Who was this? I forgot what pastor said this. He said you can take the pain or you can take the lesson, but you can't take both. I'm trying to remember who said this. I think it was R.C. Blake said something like that before, and it kind of stuck with me. But it was like, God wants you to learn a lesson from those relationships. Leave them alone, let them go, but take the lessons with you. And let go of the lies, right? Remove the lies as well. And I hope I'm breaking this down correctly. But what he was saying is, even though we've let go of some of those relationships, they've still had control over us. Okay? We walked away from certain relationships, certain unions that weren't good for us, but they are still presently controlling us. They're still presently controlling us, is what he was showing me. Because we haven't fully healed from it. Say, for instance, I named 3 people in my life that were toxic. I didn't, name exactly who they were, but these were 3 individuals in my life that were toxic, that at some point or another had hurt me, made me feel bad about myself. And anytime I talk to them, it's not a good relationship. I don't feel good about me when I'm in their company. But I've been in their company out of obligation, right? God is saying it's time to heal from that and release those things. Okay. And then another thing he tied in is something I'm doing in the natural right now. Like I'm taking a master course from Latoya Okia. What's it called? Lord have mercy. What is that course called? You're going to make me look it up. Yeah, I'm a little tired right now, but the Beast Mode course. So I'm taking the Beast Mode course, and it's a lot of stuff she's doing that God showed me to do before in my fitness journey. So it's like nice because it's like, oh, I don't know, I love how God operates, how he guides us in similar ways sometimes. And so some of the things I knew, but I didn't know all of the things. Like this is really helping me on a mental level with healing and just becoming, everything that God's created me to be. So this, oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, so, from the Beast Mode course, I don't want to say too much from the course, but from the course, there's a part of the section where you ask yourself certain questions, about like how you think about yourself, how do you feel about yourself? And the reasons, like, why do you have that thought about yourself? And what causes you to think like that? Just identifying the different areas in your life that cause you to feel like that about yourself. Like just identifying the reasons why and trying to self-correct, some of the messed up thoughts you have about yourself, right? And so God was just tying all of this in, from the course I'm currently taking to the dream I just had, to the past dream. And he was telling me that I have to, and this is for you too, if this, you know, ask God if this is for you, if he's dealing with you on healing and stuff, and maybe he's guiding you the same way, that you have to reject those toxic unions, including rejecting the things that they said that is still connected to you, right? Say it was a parent and they told you you would never be nothing, and you may never talk to that parent. You may have not talked to that parent in years, but what that parent said about you is still connected to you. You still you believe it sometimes. You know, you don't even know you believe it because you don't even think that deep on a regular basis. But if you think deeply about how you value yourself, what you think about yourself, how do you feel about yourself? What's your self-worth? What's your self-value? You know, and then asking yourself why you feel these ways. Any negative thoughts you have about yourself, where did it come from? How long have you had the thought? You know what I mean? And where did it all stem from? And so God was saying that even though you may have rejected those toxic relationships, rejected those toxic unions, you still been connected to what they planted inside of you, right? Say you was with a narcissist and he treated you like you weren't worth nothing. And even after you finally stopped talking to him, sometimes you still struggle with wondering why you weren't enough, you know, or something you could have did better, or how come they with that person, or whatever the case may be. You need to completely reject that union as a whole, from the individual to anything they left implanted in you. It needs to be rejected as a whole so you can continue healing. But you have to take the time to identify that stuff, to identify that this relationship left me feeling like this. That relationship left me, you know, thinking like this about myself or about life in general. You have to correct those things and completely reject those things as well, okay? And so God was just showing me that this dream, I hope I'm explaining all this right, but it was all about taking back your control, taking back the control over your thoughts about yourself. Because if God is telling you, this is who you are, this is who I created you to be, and you having a hard time walking into that because you still holding on to the thoughts that people you have walked away from gave you, like you walked away from them, not, you know, in the physical, but it's parts of them still up here. You know what God told me when I was talking to him about this dream, trying to understand it. I was talking about him in the car. I was talking about the dream to God in the car, and he said them people living rent free. You know that saying, they living rent free in your mind still. You may not be talking to them, but they living rent free in your mind still. That the words they said, you haven't dealt with that. You haven't ridded yourself of that. You haven't told yourself that's a lie. You haven't completely rejected that yet. You still struggle with it. You know what I mean? So doing the work of healing from those things, and just asking God to guide you on how to do that. Because man, it's a process, and only God can guide you to what's going to help you in that moment to heal, to fully cleanse from that. But he just wanted you to be aware that you need to fully reject those toxic unions, y'all. So I hope I explained this well enough. That was the dream, and that was the message, and I don't want to make this super longer than it already is. So I hope I really explained this well enough. But God was saying, yes, if you're going through your healing season, you need to be rejecting these toxic relationships, completely rejecting those toxic unions and the thoughts that they left implanted in your mind. Because sometimes we don't even realize something is there till we take the time to sit still and actually examine our thoughts about ourselves, examine, you know, who we become. Why have we become this way? Is this who I really am? Am I really this person? Or is this who I allowed other people to make me into with their words? I've had some people speak things over my life, my entire life, and I became those things. But I was never that person. I was never that person. At one point I was like, okay, you say I'm that, I'm gonna be that. At one point I was like, because I was hurt at first when they kept saying things about me that weren't true. But after a while, I just got like, if you say that, if you say that's what I am, that's what I'm gonna be. You know, oh, I'll show you one. But no, you don't. No, you don't let people mold you and shape you into who you were created to be. That's God's job. That's his business. And he doesn't take that lightly. It's not a laughing matter when it comes to him. When he created you to be this person, you know, that he's giving you a certain purpose to do, and you struggling with walking into it because you still stuck on the identity that somebody else gave you. God didn't give you that identity. The identity that God gave you, you're having a hard time accepting it because you still been in connection to you still been in a mental connection to those people you were previously talking to. They've been living rent free in your mind, guys. And so, y'all, he's been just really working with me and cleansing me, and just honestly speaking, because oh God, he took me back to another previous dream where God does things in a certain order, and sometimes he would show us the order just so we are aware of what's to come next, and just to give us hope, you know. And there's a dream that God showed me where basically, y'all, I'm looking at my phone because I'm trying to figure out, I want to make sure I say this right. Oh, okay, so the dream was, things are about to escalate, do you know who you are? So this dream talked about an open door season. And the thing is, God may give us hope and promises of gifts and things. And what you need to understand, that God is not a man. He never lies. Those things are promised to you. But there's an order to things. And in this dream, the beginning of the dream talked about us finding our identity. And once we found our identity in God, we would be approaching and about to go into that open door season. And then the promises of God and so on and so on. But first, he was very, very, he said this strongly, that we would need to find our identity first, right? So a lot of things you're going through, these are character building things. These are things where he's still cleansing and healing you. And even all the water I've been seeing in the dreams. The first time God showed me the water, he spoke to me about overflow. After that, recently, he said it's not just overflow, it's a cleanse too. It's cleansing. He's cleansing you of things that can't go with you into the new. So he showed me not only the water I've been seeing in dreams symbolize overflow, it also symbolized the cleansing that he's doing on his body, on his people that he loves dearly. He wants to wash away all the lies that the world has poured on you, and he wants to replace them with the truth about you, about your purpose, about who you're created to be, and just everything he's put in you, So hopefully this dream was confirmation for somebody. I hope I said everything right. But yeah, God is trying to heal you so he can have you walking fully in your purpose and in your identity. And only God can give you your identity. Okay? So y'all be blessed. Y'all be blessed. I hope and pray this helps somebody. All right, y'all. I have another dream to release. So I will talk to y'all in the next one. All right, y'all. Y'all be blessed.